Hello, I'm Andy Norman, founder of Antek Automation, and welcome to Quick Tips, the show where I take one real problem facing small businesses and give you something practical to do about it. Picture this, it's a Tuesday morning. Somewhere in Silicon Valley, a major technology company has just spent several $100 million acquiring a startup that makes tools for writing computer code. Tech journalists are filing breathless copy. LinkedIn is full of people saying this changes everything. And meanwhile, your phone rings, goes to voicemail, and a potential client hangs up and calls your competitor instead. That is the gap I want to talk about today. The gap between what makes the headlines and what actually determines whether you sign more clients this month. I have spent more than 30 years in service businesses. Before I started Antek Automation, I was out in the field, managing teams, running operations for managed print companies across the UK. I know exactly what it feels like when the phone is your pipeline and you are too stretched to answer it properly. So when business owners ask me whether they should be watching the latest AI acquisition news, my honest answer is probably not. Not if your actual problem is intake. Here is why. The technology that helps a software developer write code faster and the technology that handles your incoming calls are built for entirely different jobs. One understands programming languages and software logic. The other needs to understand an anxious caller who is ringing from a moving car on a bad connection with a problem they cannot quite put into words. Those are not the same challenge at all. An improvement in one tells you nothing useful about the other. So what should you actually be paying attention to? 3 things. First, speech recognition in real-world conditions, not in a slick vendor demo, not in a quiet meeting room. Real calls from real people. Your callers are stressed, they have accents, they are on speakerphone in a noisy car park. Some of them are driving. The system has to understand them on the first go, without making them repeat themselves 3 times over. Because the moment a caller gets frustrated, they hang up, and that is a lead gone before you even knew they were there. Second, context retention across the whole call. If somebody explains their situation 2 minutes into the conversation, the system should still be working with that information when the call ends. They should never have to explain themselves again mid-conversation. It sounds like a small thing, but it is the difference between something that feels like a capable member of your team and something that feels like pressing 1 for sales and 2 for accounts. The former books consultations, the latter loses clients. Third, ask vendors the right questions. Not about their technology stack, not about which large company they partner with. Ask them for real numbers from clients in your industry. What percentage of calls turn into booked consultations? How many leads that would have gone to voicemail are now being captured? How long does it take from the first call to an appointment confirmed? Good vendors have those figures to hand because they track them closely. If a vendor starts talking about neural networks or name-dropping big tech partnerships instead of answering those questions directly, that tells you something. The underlying technology matters far less than how the system has been trained, how the conversations have been designed, and how cleanly the whole thing connects to your CRM, your calendar, and your follow-up process. A straightforward system built around your specific workflow will outperform an impressive sounding one that has never been configured for what you actually do. I have seen that play out with leading agents, dental practices, professional services firms, all sorts. The ones getting results are not the ones chasing the shiniest platform. They are the ones who got clear on what a good call outcome looks like for their business and then held vendors to that standard. So the next time you see a headline about a major AI acquisition, give it 10 seconds, then ask yourself whether it changes anything about what happens when your phone rings tonight. If the answer is no, and it almost certainly will be, put it down and go back to measuring the things that actually do. There is a full write-up on everything we covered today on the blog at antekautomation.com if you want to go deeper on vendor evaluation or the specific capabilities worth testing before you commit to anything. I'm Andy Norman, this has been Antek Automation. Find us at antekautomation.com and I'll see you on the next one.